Hi, I'm John Barton. I'm the director of Shakespeare in Love at the Crichton Theater. We're going to be performing the first 3 weekends in April, and I'm really looking forward to working with all of you folks. This is a video that's going to kind of help you with the audition process. I know I made a video beforehand, and I think it might have raised more questions than it did answers. So I want to try again. If you see me looking down a lot, it's because I have these things written down, and that's just going to help me keep things organized. First of all, welcome. If you've never auditioned for Stage Right at the Crichton Theater, I hope this is a good experience. I might be a little bit different director than you're used to, but that's okay. I think you'll like the way I do things. First of all, audition date and time. It's going to be coming up real soon. It's going to be Sunday, the 19th, and Monday, the 20th. Okay, on Sunday, we're going to start at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I think I may have told a few people a little bit earlier, but we'll really want to start at 6 p.m. If you get there earlier, that's fine. You'll just have a little bit longer to wait. On Monday, we're going to start at 6:30 to 9, just because traffic is always a pain in the butt on Monday. And I'll be honest with you, even though it's Martin Luther King Day, there still might be some traffic. So I want to make sure that everyone has enough time to get there without a problem. You do not have to be at both dates. However, it's best that you are there for both dates, because if someone shows up on a Monday and they're absolutely fabulous, but you thought you got that role locked in on a Sunday, well, that's just how it goes. Again, speaking of the auditioning process, if you have a monologue, that's great. I'd love to hear it, but you don't have to have a monologue. Even more importantly, you don't have to have a Shakespearean monologue. This is Shakespeare in Love, not Shakespeare. So even though there is a lot of his language, a lot of it's also very modernized English. So we definitely want to talk about that. Also, speaking of speaking, you do not have to have a British accent. I want a standard American accent for all of this because, well, let's be honest, some people can do a great British accent and some people can't. And when you have half the cast doing it and the other half doesn't, it just is very distracting. So I want to do a standard American accent. Now, I don't want us all to sound like we're from deep East Texas, but a standard American accent would be perfect. Again, you don't have to have a monologue, but you're going to read sides from the play. And I will pair you up with different people as well. This is how the process is going to work. This is a closed audition, which means that you don't get to watch everybody else audition. I think that's not exactly the most beneficial way to audition. So you're going to come in, you're going to fill out a form, you're going to go upstairs and sit into the balcony in the auditorium. Now, the folks in big are going to be running their rehearsals, so I'm going to ask you guys to kind of keep it down, keep it quiet. I'll have a walkie-talkie set up there, so that way we'll call for you to come down to the lobby and audition for me. At that point, when you're done, you can go back up to the auditorium. I might call you back again to audition with somebody else, pair you up with several different people. It just really depends on who shows up that day and how many people show up that day, to be honest with you. Headshots and resumes. If you have a headshot, please, please, please bring it. Resume's great too, but I'm more interested in your headshot more than anything else. If you don't have a headshot, that's fine. Bring me a photograph of yourself. You know, it could be you eating a Big Mac or something. I don't really care. It's just something physical that I can lay out on a table and go, I like this person, I like this person, I like this person. It just helps me visualize things. Again, you're going to have a form to fill out. Part of that form is going to ask you some basic questions, like if you want a particular role and you don't get that role, would you be willing to do a different role? And that's okay too. Not everyone can take the lead. Perhaps you want to be, I don't know, Will Shakespeare. There's only going to be one Will Shakespeare. So I want to know, hey, would you be willing to be somebody else in the show? Someone minor. Would you be willing to do some tech work for us? Anyhow, this is all going to be on the form. There's also going to be the standard releases and things like that nature. Character list. Speaking of characters, there should be a link now to a character list that I have generated for you to take a look at, so that way you are more familiar with all the different characters that are in this play. How many people I'm going to cast? I don't know. It depends on how many people actually show up. I would prefer, more than anything, to only single cast these roles. In other words, I don't want one actor playing 14 different roles. I would really like it if everyone had their own individual role. So maybe if you only had a few small lines, then I'd include you in some crowd scenes as well. I want to give this opportunity to get as many people involved in the show as possible. Let's talk about the rehearsal process as well. We all have a spring break coming up in March. And when I say we, I mean teachers, and I'm a teacher. So guess what? I'm going to try to relax as much as I can during March. And you guys might have some kids too, and they might be off during spring break. You might have some vacation plans and things of that nature. I don't want to disrupt that. So I will be turning off the rehearsal process during spring break. Not probably the full spring break, but at least 3 or 4 days. So that way, if you have a vacation planned or you want to make a trip with your kids, please spend some time with them. I'm sure they love you, and I'm sure you love them. So spending some time with your kids during spring break is super important to me. I want to make sure that we have enough time that everyone feels comfortable about that. The last thing I want to talk about real quick is technicians. I need people to run lights and sounds and all kinds of different stuff. The good news is we do have a stage manager. We do have an assistant director. I'm going to need a costumer. I'm going to need someone to run lights. I need someone to do sound. Luckily enough, I know a guy for set building, so we're going to be able to take care of that without problem. All right, so that's pretty much everything on my list. I'm sure there's a few other things I haven't thought about yet. This show is going to be amazing because we're going to do all kinds of really, well, that was the timer in my classroom telling me get off the phone here. All right, so like I said, this is going to be a very amazing production. I can't wait to work with every single one of you guys. And hey, go out there and break a leg.